Welcome into College Football Smothered and Covered. My name's Barrett Sallee. I really appreciate you checking out the show. It's been a couple of days since we did this last Thursday. In fact, because it was a busy Friday, busy weekend with my AJC responsibilities for the Braves Report podcast. So we're back on a Monday morning, and we're here to talk about the sport that you love. And that is, of course, college football. And like I say every week, go follow and listen to all the other college football podcasts out there. I really, really urge you to. On the Believe Network, we've got a ton to choose from. So go check those out and go listen to the other ones as well. Go listen to Pate, go listen to Piquel, all of them, because we're part of your college football ecosystem. We want to bring you the coverage that you deserve. College football, 24/7, 365. And I think we do a pretty good job of that here at College Football Smothered and Covered. Those other people do as well. We do have a busy show for you today. The Final Four will wrap up in men's basketball in Phoenix. So why not make a list, right? It is list season. So we will make a list about the Final Four teams in the college football playoff, the 12-team college football playoff next season. So that'll be coming up in just a minute. And I tell you guys, it was a wild weekend, right? I covered the Braves for AJC, and the vibe down at Truist Park was unreal. Whether it be the extra innings win on Friday, the comeback on Saturday, or Chris Sale's performance on Sunday, I had a blast. I had a blast down there. Didn't get to have any travel tournaments, whether it be softball or baseball, because it was the end of Cobb County spring break. So a lot of the kids were not at home. So got a full weekend for Braves baseball, really to myself. And of course, the Final Four on Saturday. The kids were up in LJ. They knew, hey, dad's got to work. Why not get out of the house and go on vacation? So the bachelor life was where I was all weekend. And of course, I was at Truist Park a lot all weekend. Hey, I ran into some listeners too. Ran into some viewers. So I appreciate you guys saying hello. I appreciate you guys saying you like the show. And we're going to try to be here as much as possible. We don't know exactly what the pacing will be now that Major League Baseball has started, and I do the Braves podcast 3 times a week, but at least 3 times a week, we'll be doing College Football Smothered and Covered, and of course, the Weekend Feast. So we're not going away. We're just trying to figure out exactly how to function as a podcast now that, I'll be honest, pretty busy between the AJC and this and Outkick and SiriusXM. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot. Hey, you know what is a lot? There's a lot of shirts you can choose from at breakingtea.com. This one, of course, an Ohio State shirt. Beat the school up north. It hasn't happened lately, at least in football, but there's always next year. And next year might include a big, big run. We'll talk about where I think Ohio State will be. Are they in or out of the Final Four in college football next year? But before then, go check this shirt out. Go buy this shirt, breakingtea.com/smothered and covered. breakingtea.com/smothered and covered. You can have this shirt whether you're an Ohio State fan, Michigan fan, Alabama fan, Notre Dame fan, Auburn fan, doesn't matter. They've got viral shirts. They've got legacy shirts. They've got everything. So go to breakingtea.com/smothered and covered and wear the moment with our friends over there at Breaking Tea. All right. Let's have a list, shall we? Let's do some lists. It is, like I said, the day that the Final Four wraps up, which means college football becomes every college athletics fan as soon as tomorrow, maybe 11 o'clock tonight, 11:30, midnight, depending on when this game wraps up tonight. Yes, there are college baseball fans out there. I get it, but let's be real. All the pages turn to football, especially 7 days from now, when the spring portal window opens. So let's pick the Final Four, subject to many, 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 many changes. Did I say many? There might be a lot of changes. All right, number 1, Georgia. Occam's razor, right? Big fan of Occam's razor here on the show. The simplest solution is the right one. Georgia is absolutely loaded. There's no reason to think that they can't make the Final Four, and in my opinion, be the number 1 seed. They've got a quarterback in Carson Beck who, depending on where you look and depending on what time of the year, depending on what month it is either the Heisman Trophy favorite or second behind Quinn Ewers. Doesn't really matter. He's awesome. Quinn Ewers is Carson Beck is that dude. He is that dude. You go back and watch. And we talked to David Pollack on this show about a month ago, and he said really the only thing that Carson might need to worry about is if he has to take something off on those short and intermediate routes, because that dude throws lasers. I mean, they're coming in hot. They're coming in 100 miles an hour, like Spencer Strider used to throw before he is getting his Tommy John surgery. So he's going to have to do that a little bit. But that's okay. That's what spring practice is for. That's what fall camp is for. He only started 14 games last season, 13 games last season. It's hard to get used to it in 13 games. You evolve. When you have an offseason as the unquestioned starter, you get better. Ask Stetson Bennett about that. But I think the more important thing is Kirby Smart's ability to address, to diagnose issues on the roster and then properly address those issues on the roster. And he's done that this year. Obviously, Georgia's used to having, 4 running backs that they use in a rotation. They kind of got away from that last year. Injuries hurt them as well, and they were kind of scrambling at running back. A lot of those dudes are back, but Trevor Etienne is there. I don't want to hear about his suspension or potential suspension. I don't want to hear about his legal problems. Assuming he's there, whether it be against Clemson in the opener or after that, he's going to be one of the best running backs in the country, because let's be honest, he was a stud at Florida and he got no help. And yes, I'm drinking water because I have a little bit of pollen sniffles. But the dude can play. And so you add him into the mix and you have a 1B and a 2 and a 3. That's going to be enough pressure taken off of Carson Beck to stretch the field. Now, how's he going to stretch the field? Well, Georgia loses some dudes, specifically A.D. Mitchell to Texas, or not A.D. Mitchell. They've lost a lot in terms of graduation. Kirby Smart recognized that was a problem. And, he's getting a couple of transfers back and Dominic Lovett and rah-rah. And but are those dudes number one? No. Do they need to have options? Yes, especially after Brock Bowers left. You're still going to get Delp as a tight end, but you still need to have downfield options. He gets 4 transfer receivers who could contribute. 4. So he gives himself options. And I'm old enough to remember 2 years ago where Kirby was bragging, rightfully so, about winning a national championship with 0 players transferring in. That was a point of pride for him. Talk to him about it. It was a point of pride for him. But things have changed. He now recognizes that he does need to change the way he approaches roster building. And he has done a great job of that last year with the receiver position after AD left, and this year with 4 newcomers. So basically what I'm saying is that team is complete. There is nothing wrong with that team. You go look for a weak spot. Okay, maybe secondary. You go back and watch the back end of Georgia, the back end of that defense last year for Georgia. And I'm talking not just the secondary, but also linebackers as well, because they use a lot of athletic linebackers. Obviously everyone's got a nickel or, whatever, dime packages. Nickel packages are basically the base anyway now. But they have so many dudes waiting in the wings, and we saw quite a few of them last season late. So Georgia, to me, they play Alabama in September. I don't really care about anything else. They got Texas. Fine. You have to put this in proper perspective. You have to be able to get to the playoff. And once you're there, do you have the depth and experience to get to the Final Four? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. So I'm sorry there is a typo. I appreciate you guys in the comments saying 24-25. I went to Auburn. I don't do math. They don't teach us that. So I'm sorry. I will get to your questions in a little bit. I promise. But yes, and Josh Berry, they lost McConkey too. I love Lad McConkey. I get it. 100%. It's Monday morning, dude. Give me a break. But Yeah, Georgia can get in once they're in. The experience, the depth, no problem whatsoever. Texas. And yes, these are in order, I guess. Are they in order? No, it's impossible to put them in order. Texas. In the SEC, look at how that team is built. And I know people in our neck of the woods, and I live in SEC country. They're like, oh, Texas can't handle the SEC. They can't handle the grind and blah, 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 blah. They went to the national semifinal last year, damn near beat Washington in the Sugar Bowl, had a chance, beat Alabama in week 2 in the trenches, which is how you win in the SEC. They get one of the top 2 quarterbacks returning. They get a transfer from Alabama and Isaiah Bond at receiver. They're loaded in the trenches yet again. Why not Texas? Why not? Okay, well, the schedule. That's the obvious next question, right? Oh, it's the schedule. Okay. Yes, playing Michigan and Georgia is a problem. Will they lose both of those? Probably not. Even if they do lose both of those, will they lose anywhere else? Probably not. That's good enough to get to the playoff. And again, like Georgia, what happens when you get to the playoff? You focus on your stars, you focus on your depth, and you focus on your experience. Does Texas check all those boxes? Yeah. Yeah. So knowing right now that we don't know the matchups, but you have to look at that team and say, yes, they are set up for success. They're set up for success in the SEC. Yes, Freudian slip. Sorry. Don't clip that one out. They're set up for success in the SEC. They've got the experience and they've got the dudes. What's not to like? What's not to like? TriStar in the comments. Texas will win the Southwest Conference. That is the Southeastern Conference, not SWC, SEC. Give you a pass on that. Missouri will win the Big 8. No, SEC. Georgia will win the SEC. They might. Penn State will win the Big East. Nope, they will not do that because that's not the Big East. Clemson will win the ACC. They actually are in that. Oregon will win the Pac-12. Nope, they're not there anymore. I love it, TriStar. We're here for jokes on a Monday morning. Boom, you got them. Love it. Let's go. Have some fun on a Monday morning. All right, now, going to take a lot of heat on this one because this is the most polarizing team in the country every year, without question. TriStar, yes, you are joking. A lot of those teams aren't in those conferences. I'm going to go with God on this one. Notre Dame making the college football playoff. I'm a believer in Marcus Freeman. I really am. It's hard to take over a program like Notre Dame at any point, much less when your experience level is down. And is Brian Kelly a legend? Okay, let's lower the bar for the definition of legend. He's a damn good quarterback or a head coach. Damn good head coach. So it's hard stepping in when you're trying to figure out your identity, figure out your voice, all that other stuff. Marcus Freeman's done a good job. I think this year, addressing the portal, getting Riley Leonard. Now, granted, he's hurt, but getting him is huge. And a lot like Georgia, they got wide receiver help. They need it. That's one area that they've been pretty consistently not up to national championship caliber level, and they'll tell you that. But they've got Bo Collins. Now he's got to get healthy, sure, from Clemson. Got a couple other guys who should be starters or contributors. And you know they can pound the rock because they are loaded up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So you look at the schedule. 10-2 should be bare minimum. They're going to get the number 4 or 5 seed. They can't get a top 4. So they're going to get set up in a spot where, okay, they're hosting a game. It's going to be against a pretty poor team. Then you're probably in a situation where, yeah, you might have a tough matchup, but not one of the toughest in the next round after the first 4 teams get buys. So can you make it? Yeah, they can make it. I don't see why not. You might have to spring one upset along the way, and that's okay. Do we know where it is? No. Are they going to be, in a situation where they have to beat a team that is 11-1? Sure, maybe. But here's the thing. The lower end of those top 4 teams are going to be conference champions, talking about an ACC champ and a Big 12 champ. So if Notre Dame has to go up against one of those in the second round, what's the problem? Why not? Why not Notre Dame? There you go. You shouldn't pick against Notre Dame. And all the Notre Dame hate is coming right at me. And I apologize. No, I don't apologize. It's okay. Notre Dame's not overrated. They're actually underrated most of the time in the preseason polls. Look it up. It's true. All right. Ohio State going in number 4. And the reason I put Ohio State at number 4 and not higher, which a lot of these teams, a lot of these people that do this sort of thing, whether it be way too early, top 25s or whatever, have Ohio State higher. If you know this show, if you've watched this show, you know that I'm not the highest analyst on Will Howard. In fact, I don't think he should start at quarterback for Ohio State. We'll get to that in a second. What Ohio State does have is a loaded roster that have that unfinished business sort of mindset. JTT comes back. Ibuka comes back. They have guys who understand, hey, there should be more here. What does that sound like? Florida State last year. Now, granted, they didn't go to the playoff. They should have, but they were undefeated in the regular season, won the ACC. So whether they went to the playoff or not, they did everything they were supposed to do. Unfinished business. Okay, it wasn't a national championship. They did all they could. The players did all they could. Okay, they had that mindset. Georgia in 2021 had that mindset. Guess what they did? Won a national championship. Michigan last year had that mindset. Guess what they did? Won a national championship. All right. Ohio State has that mindset because there are a lot of people that could have gone to the pros and didn't. They came back because they want to win. They want to beat Michigan. They want to win a playoff game or 2 or 3. All right. They hit the transfer portal hard. Ryan Day did a great job. Obviously, Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss, one of the best running backs in the country. Caleb Downs. We don't need to go through all this. You guys already know. If you're college football fans, you know those names. Fine. Now, why they're not number 1, number 2, or number 3 is because I don't know what Ryan Day is going to do at quarterback. I know what Ryan Day should do at quarterback, and that is start any one of those 4 guys other than Will Howard, right? Because I think those guys can win at an elite level. I don't think Will Howard can. The dude was not going to start at Kansas State. Avery Johnson beat him out. That's why he's at Ohio State. All right. Do I think Devin could beat him out? Should beat him out. Can he play better? Yes. Could Julian Sayin? Yes. Could Aaron Nolan? Yes. There are a bunch of dudes on that roster who are good enough to start and play at an elite level. Will Howard's not. So that is why I have Ohio State at number 4. Because I don't know if Ryan Day is going to do what I think he should do. But even if he does, even if he does what I don't think he should do, if he starts Will Howard at quarterback, he's going to change. He's going to recognize that, hey, you know what? This is not going to work. And he's going to make a change. That'll be good enough to get Ohio State in the playoff. Yeah, they might not be one of the top. In fact, I don't think they'd be one of the top 4 seeds going in. So they're going to have some work to do. But what do we talk about on this show? Depth, experience, high-end talent. High-end talent is there everywhere. Experience, okay, they're lacking a little bit, but this is a program that understands, hey, this is what it's like to win at an elite level, be at an elite level. And some of those guys played 2 years ago in the Peach Bowl. So, yeah, they have some experience. And so I think it's okay to assume that Ohio State is going to be outside of the top 4, but still capable of winning a national championship if Ryan Day starts somebody else other than Will Howard, or if Will Howard proves me wrong. It is that simple. One team that I did not put there is Alabama. You can buy an Alabama shirt. Milrow Magic is the one I'm showing right now on the screen. Some other breakingt.com/smothered and covered. Breakingt.com/smothered and covered. If you want to get this bad boy or anything else in terms of viral shirts. BreakingT.com/smothered and covered. You can wear the moment. You can get a legacy shirt. Right now, I've got this Ronald Acuna. Why not Ronald? Hey, dude, hit a home run. Seriously. What's up with him? All right. Real quick before we get out of here. And yes, I know there's a typo in the headline. I'll fix it. Y'all stop yelling at me. TriStar again. One game to look forward to is Tennessee versus Oklahoma. Heupel's return to Norman. Yes, that is a good game to return to mark on your calendars. Fully on board with that. All right. Bama, just showed you a shirt. Bama, you're not in my top 4. Why? Because I don't know what you're going to be. I look at Alabama and I kind of want to look like I have a 8-month-old golden and a 9-year-old golden. And when they hear sounds, they kind of get that, what are you talking? What is that? That's kind of what I have in terms of reaction to Alabama. I don't know what you are. I know what you can be, and that's a national championship team. I know what you are right now, and you're not a national championship team, and that's okay. Because with all the upheaval, it's unfair for Alabama fans, Alabama boosters, to think that things won't change, right? It's a massive change. And on top of that, there's I wouldn't say a personnel disadvantage. Well, you know what? Yeah, it's a personnel disadvantage right this very moment. That roster is not capable of winning a national championship. 7 days from now, that might change when the portal window opens. But right now, on April 8th, why would you pick Alabama? Because you have no idea what this team's going to be. And again, that's okay. So Alabama, very simple logic. You're on the outside looking in. I still trust Jalen Milroe. I think he will be put in situations where his strengths will be emphasized. That's what Kalen DeBoer did last year with Michael Penix. Why not keep it up with Jalen Milroe, who can hit the deep pass over and over and over again? I think he'll use his legs more. Michael Penix was a little different because of the injuries. So if he can sling it all over the place, why change what's working, right? But I think Alabama's on the outside looking in for now. Same with Florida State. I just think with Florida State, sort of the same thing. You lose everybody. Jordan Travis, Jared Verse, a couple of offensive linemen, 2 top receivers. Why would you say Florida State will do anything right now? Why would you make a hard stance one way or the other right now? You can't. You can't. And again, that's okay. That is okay. With that said, I absolutely trust Mike Norvell. I absolutely think that the stability that exists in that program now that he has committed to it and didn't go to Alabama when he was one of the 2 finalists is massive for the direction of that program. And I think that DJ Uiagalelei's ceiling is still high. Not as high as we thought, maybe after he went to Notre Dame and set the record books on fire, even though they lost to that game, lost to the Fighting Irish in that game, the COVID game when Trevor was out on the COVID list. I think we all put DJ's bar way up here. It's more like here on the screen. That's okay. Why not? Totally fine. Totally fine. So Florida State, again, let's wait and see. Let's see what happens 7 days from now, 10 days from now, 14 days from now, 21 days from now, when the portal window closes, and then we can readjust. Totally fine doing that. And Florida State can be one of those teams that can make the Final Four with just a couple of additions. And so those 2, I think, are the biggest. And then the Big 12, it's going to be the most interesting conference in college football this year because we don't know which team has the most upside. We don't know who's going to be the juggernaut. Could it be Utah? Could it be Oklahoma State? Sure, maybe. Could it be a chance for Arizona State to finally find that's one of those teams I kind of want to shake and be like, why aren't you better? And my colleague at AJC, Justin Toscano, covers the Braves. He feels the same way as an Arizona State alum. He's just like, why can't this program be better? It's not going to be better this year. I do think the foundation is there for Arizona State. But again, we don't know what the Big 12 is going to be. I do think they'll get a top 4 seed in the playoff. It'll probably be Oklahoma State. Could be Utah. They're going to get knocked out very, very quickly. None of those teams have the top end talent. So those are the three on the outside looking in. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the show today here on a Monday morning. I will change the headline for those of you in the comments section who pointed out that it's 24-25, not 23-24. Again, I went to Auburn. We don't do math. We don't do math. So get over it. Not to be mean. But again, appreciate you checking out the show. 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star, comments, good, bad, doesn't matter to me. Just let us know what you like. Let us know what you dislike. I'm totally here for constructive criticism. All of us here at College Football Smothered and Covered, we love that. We love that. And all across the Believe Network. If you have some suggestions, we're open. We're all ears. So until next time, appreciate you guys checking out the show. Don't forget to download it and subscribe on Apple, iTunes, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you get your podcast, wherever you watch your podcast, whatever look, let's be honest. If you're new to the podcast or YouTube world, you probably need this reminder, but none of you are. You know what you're doing. Have a good day, everybody.